welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television, and thank you so much for staying with us. We begin conversations this morning with Srgt. Emmanuel Yorke of the TTPS as we talk about traffic restrictions for Carnival 2025. As you are aware, we're heading into the weekend where there will be parades on the streets, and of course we need to know where we can and cannot drive. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Adanna, and good morning to the viewers. I am Srgt. Yorke, and I'm here just to assist you this morning.
That's right. And we appreciate your assistance, of course, our friends at the TTPS. You know, we do love having conversations with you guys as we get the information that we need to ensure that we are law-abiding citizens here in Tobago. And of course, as I mentioned, there'll be parades in Scarborough and certain areas as well. And so there must be restrictions in order to control the flow of things for the entire weekend, as it were. So just talk us through some of the areas where there will be parades and how the traffic will be diverted to ensure a smooth flow of what will happen during the carnival season.
Right, Adanna. On Saturday, we will be having Kiddies Carnival in Roxborough. Right, there will not be traffic restrictions for that as per se, because that event basically takes place at the Sid Gray Stadium compound. So it's not really on the road, so we don't have traffic restrictions for that. On Sunday, the Kiddies Carnival moves to Scarborough. This is where we'd have some traffic restrictions. Now, we know that Carnival comes around every year, and some persons are going to be inconvenienced. Our function is to try to minimize the inconvenience that persons have. So we do as little as possible, but to ensure that persons are as safe as possible. So the restrictions in Scarborough would be from where we call Bay Street, that is just in the vicinity of Church's Chicken, right? We would have that from that area would be blocked off. Straight down to along Carrington Street onto the Calypso Rose Boulevard, up Orange Hill Road to in the vicinity of Yachts, there will have another blockage there, right? On the North Side Road, at the area of the traffic lights, the Wilson Road traffic lights, right? There's going to be blockage there because the route that is going to be taken by the masqueraders would be from along the Calypso Rose Boulevard. The intent is there are two starting points generally, down at the Coast Guard base and at the Gardenside car park. So they will be parading along that entire route. So that area will be totally blocked off from traffic. That will be for Scarborough. And that blockage will also transcend into Monday morning for the Juve and the traditional mass during the day. And I'm sure you know that the night mass has now moved from Roxborough. So there will be no night mass in Roxborough. The night mass is now in Scarborough. So that traffic restriction will also be in place for the night mass in Scarborough on Monday night.
All right. So are there time frames in which these restrictions will come into play, or is it going to stay, once it is set for Saturday, it stays for the entire period until after? And I'm asking this primarily also for persons who either reside in the areas or have to conduct any type of business per se in those areas. What are the hours that they can use the area without the restrictions, or should they request or require or apply for rather a permit to get in and out of those areas should they need to? For instance, residents of, let's say, Dutch Fort, Sangsters Hill, Smithfield, those areas, if they want to come and go, how do they get through those areas?
Right, and that's a very good question. Now, the residents of the area who lives in the Sangsters Hill, Dutch Fort area, once you show a proof of address, you would not need a pass to get through. The officers there have been briefed to know that persons who are living in the area could go to their residence, right? So they don't need a pass, right? The restrictions for Sunday right? That would start somewhere around 10 a.m. and that goes through until 6 p.m., right? For Monday morning for the Juve, that starts at 3 a.m. The Juve generally starts at 4, so we want vehicles out of the area before the Juve starts. So at 3 a.m., the restrictions would be starting. Those restrictions would be going through Monday, because after the Juve finishes at 10, we have traditional mass that is supposed to start at 11. And that goes into the afternoon, and then we have night mass to start. So that restriction generally runs through the day. That's for Monday. Right? Now, as I'm on Monday, I could also touch on Crown Point.
Right.
Right? We all know that the route for the mass in Crown Point is on the main thoroughfare. That starts at the Green Shop. So the restrictions for Crown Point is that from 3 a.m. for the Juve, the road will be blocked from Stumpy Bypass. So vehicles proceeding down to the A&R Robinson International Airport and areas in those vicinities would use that Stumpy Bypass and go along the Storbay Local Road. That would be the main thoroughfare for vehicles who are not involved, who are not to be in the Carnival celebrations. That is also the route that will be used by emergency vehicles to get to and from different areas within the Carnival for any eventuality of any emergencies.
All right. Seems as if we have it covered there. I mean, as you mentioned before, it's not the first time that we've had Carnival on the streets of Scarborough, Crown Point, even Roxborough. And so these things are just a reminder as to how things will be managed where this is concerned. Let's say, for instance, I'm not a resident of the areas,
Yes.
but I do have to go there. I have to go to the hardware. There's a hardware in St. Cecil. It will be open. They usually stay open. Not a hardware, what you could call it a hardware, a convenience store. And they
Yes.
stay open literally almost every day, you know. And so what if I have to do stuff like that and I am not a resident there? Would I be permitted to go in or come out?
Right. Persons who have to be within the restricted area are granted pass. They could apply to the senior superintendent for a pass. There are 3 different types of passes that would be granted to persons. There is the restricted access. So you see, as you talk about the person who has to go to that specific place, right? You have a restricted access pass, and it would stipulate exactly where you can go with that pass, right? We have the all access pass. That all access pass gives you, as it says, all access. And then we have the ban route pass. That is for, these vehicles that operate with the bans right, they have a pass for the ban route. So they are permitted to be on the ban route, right? But I must warn persons that misuse of these passes would cause them to be confiscated by the police officers, and you would be debarred access thereafter. Officers are not going to tolerate you having a pass for your vehicle and you lend it to your friend because your friend wants to get in, and then that friend lend it to another friend, and when you do check it, we have over 100 vehicles in and around the masqueraders, causing persons' lives to be in danger.
So it really is a call for personal responsibility to ensure that you adhere to the guidelines that have been set out by the TTPS as it relates to traffic restrictions. It only happens for this season, and so let us adhere as much as possible to ensure a safe carnival for all of us. Let's talk a little bit about the bottles. I know we had that conversation last week on this show and again on Monday, but just to reiterate, the no glass bottle law, I think it is, for Trinidad and Tobago for the carnival season.
Yes.
So can we reiterate that, please?
No, there's a no glass bottle restriction. That restriction goes into effect from 4 a.m. on Carnival Monday morning, and that goes on to 12 midnight on Carnival Tuesday. Persons are not to sell, give, or consume any beverage out of glass bottles. Once you are seen those bottles will be confiscated from you. Right? Police officers will be strategically placed in and around the Carnival celebrations, and persons who are found with these glass bottles. Now, we know that this is the season that some people refer to as the silly season. So we expect persons to be over exuberant, right? So we are not going out there to, let's say, arrest everybody for a glass bottle. We will confiscate. Same, if you have a plastic bottle, we would allow you to throw the contents of your glass bottle into that plastic bottle, and you can go with your plastic bottle with your beverage.
Right. And what about somebody on the live is asking, what about if you have a glass cup, a glass container, not a bottle? You know, they have the bottles that the alcohol is bought and served in.
Yes.
What about if I have a cup? You know, the revelers, they usually have their little the paraphernalia that they use on the road, and some of them might be a cup. What if it's a glass? Like I get a cup from a brand and I want to use my glass. Is that permitted?
No.
Same rule applies. Same rule applies. And I want to ask this question also. When you say that the item will be confiscated from them, is there going to be any type of charge or any type of is there going to be a fine or anything for somebody using or in possession of a glass bottle on the road for Carnival?
Right. The law has a penalty for persons if the police charges you for it. Right. You can be fined up to $1,000 and imprisonment for 6 months. Right. But I'm saying that we are not coming out there. We know what season it is. We are not going out there to arrest everybody and charge everybody for a glass bottle.
But the possibility exists
that you can be
arrested.
Yes, that you can be arrested if you persist to not adhere to what you will be spoken to before. And if you continue doing it, then you would have no choice, or hands would be tied.
All right. So we have the information now, and it just is up to us now, as I mentioned before, for our personal responsibility to ensure we cooperate with the agencies who are there to guide us and to protect us and to serve us. So we also have to be in compliance with what they have advised for us to do to ensure we have a safe Carnival. In closing, is there anything else you'd like to share?
I did not mention on Tuesday, we have the mud mass, right? And that is a main issue. The mud mass will be leaving Codler Hall at 5 p.m., right? I want to use this medium to ensure that persons know out there that they will be leaving at 5. They advertised it for 6 o'clock, but I spoke with the band leader yesterday, and 5 o'clock they will be leaving, and they will be proceeding along the Claude Noel Highway. Now, we are not going to be blocking the entire highway for the mud mass, right? That junction at Codler Hall, we're going to dissect it as a diagonal. So the mud mass could be on one side, going west, while vehicles coming west could go down into Codler Hall, right? So the diversion there would be from Codler Hall into the back in Friendsfield and down to the Wilson Road traffic lights, right? And the mud mass will be going down at the walkover, you know, that little side street by the walkover. They'll be going down there onto the Garden Side Street. Now, the vehicles, the Cabo Star will be coming up at 8 o'clock. So we're trying to get the mud mass off Garden Side Street before those trucks come, because they'll be using that same route to get out of town. Right? And as I'm on that, a taxi driver came to the station yesterday and was trying to find out how are they going to be dealt with the traffic restrictions, seeing that there's a cruise ship on Tuesday, right? They would not be inconvenienced. They would be using the entrance down at where customs is there, right? So they would enter from there and exit from there. So the port will be fully accessible to them from that area. So they would get into the port from there. So for all the taxi drivers who have concern about how they would get to the tourists on Tuesday, we will not be taking your livelihood from you. You can enter from that entrance at the top and you exit at that same entrance up to Scarborough and out of
And the strategy for getting the revelers from mud out of that area by 8 is tight and in place, and we can ensure, because
Yes.
I'm telling you, mud is different to pretty mass.
I
Mud
know.
is different to traditional mass, and the persons who participate in mud mass, I mean, I am really hoping that we can get them out of the area in time and allow them to have their fun, and ensure that, you know, we can have a smooth transition so the other stakeholders, the other users of the space will not
Yes.
be as interrupted. So I'll be looking on to see how that is managed.
This is why we say that they wanted to leave at 6, we say 5 o'clock. So give or take, we're saying that it will take you at least 2 hours on the highway. So we take them from Cutler Hall to that walkover. It should take us about 2 hours to get you there. Now there will police officers directing this, right? We will be marshalling the trucks. And once the trucks move, the revelers would go. They're not going to stay without music. So once the music goes, they would go with the music. And we are giving them at least about 45 minutes, 50 minutes along that short garden side area there. So in all essence, by 8 o'clock, all the revelers should be off the garden side road, and the trucks would be able to proceed from the Cabo Star.
All right, I hope there's full adherence to the policy there, the guidelines, the strategy that is going to be implemented. I hope there's full adherence to that. And I do hope that everybody has a safe carnival here in Tobago and Trinidad by extension as well. Thank you so much for joining us this morning on set and bringing that information to our viewers. Our viewers, we do hope that you were able to, you know, of course, get the information and that you are able to, you know, follow the rules, and let's get the thing going quickly, smoothly, and safely. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to go for a short break, but up next, we speak with Dr. Denise Sawyerford Angus. She's up next, and her topic is the THA destroying the Tobago Carnival? So we're going to have that conversation because she is up next. And before we go, the photo of today, let me share the photo of today with you. I do hope that you can guess where the photo of the day is taken from this morning. What a beautiful photo. Isn't Tobago beautiful? And this photo was submitted by Virtual Tour Tobago. Virtual Tour Tobago, we got this photo from them. And so we do hope when we come back from the break, you are able to identify where this photo was taken from. We have to go for a quick break before we return. And as we go, we invite you to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.